You know, frequently on this channel, we talk about forgotten NFL quarterbacks, and I've been able to talk about some of my favorite forgotten NFL quarterbacks and get some really good views on them and get some publicity on their name. For example, someone like Kevin Hogan, my favorite forgotten quarterback of all time. But I want to mix it up today. Let's throw a little change up. I want to talk about the worst quarterbacks of all time. And now I get it. I'm going to put all time in the title. I'm going to say all time, but I'm talking more about post 1995. But there's a key reason on why I'm doing that. It's because a lot of the very, very old quarterbacks from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s have terrible touchdown to interception ratios because the game was played differently back then. So I am talking about quarterbacks post 1995, but I'm going to say the worst of all time because I need a catchy title because we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, guys. We have just passed 900. Thank you guys so much for passing 900 subscribers. And now the final big push to the big 1,000. You guys have made this so much fun. Let's keep up the energy. Let's keep up the fight. Let's get this to 1,000 subscribers for my little Gabe Sayers believer cult family that we got going on. You know, I always called it a cult, but I'm not sure if you guys like it when I call our little group a cult. So come up with some names in the comments. If you drop a comment of a name that I should call our little group and family, I'll leave you a nice reply in the comments. So make sure you do that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the worst starting NFL quarterbacks of all time. Now, number one on our list, ladies and gentlemen, is probably not one that you would entirely expect, but I am talking about Deshaun Kaiser. Now, Deshaun Kaiser is a former NFL quarterback who had a very brief career and is just remembered for that terrible fucking rookie season with the Browns in 2017. And that was a year that marked one of the worst statistical campaigns by a starting quarterback in modern NFL history. So, Kaiser was born January 3rd, 1996 in Toledo, Ohio, and was a four-star recruit out of high school. Played college football at Notre Dame, and he showed flashes of NFL potential. You know, he was a big guy, 6'4", 235. He was mobile, had a deep ball. And, you know, after just 2 seasons with the Fighting Irish, Kaiser would actually declare for the 2017 draft, where the Browns would snag him in the second round, 52 overall. And, well, he was just thrust right into that starting role, which was honestly a terrible fucking idea. Kaiser was very raw, even coming out of college. There's only 2 college seasons. And, you know, thrown right into that starting role on a rebuilding Browns team that lacked veteran leadership, it was just bad. It was just bad. He started 15 games as a rookie in 2017 under head coach Hugh Jackson, and his performance, both statistically and on tape, was horrible. He went 0-15 as a starter, which is the worst mark in the league that year. Had a 53% completion percentage, threw for under 3,000 passing yards, had 11 touchdowns and 22 picks, which led the NFL. Lost 6 fumbles and then had a passer rating of 60.5 with a QBR of 29.5. Now, those 22 interceptions were the most by a rookie since Peyton Manning in 1998, and he was just terrible. He also led the league in turnover-worthy plays. His decision-making and pocket awareness consistently would just fuck up the team and cost them wins. And, you know, he showed some physical tools. Like I said, he was a big dude. He was a little fast. He had some weight to him. But he just panicked under pressure, and he would throw into coverage constantly. Was terrible in the red zone, and it just led to so many missed opportunities there. The season culminated with the Browns going 0-16, with the being the only other team besides the Lions to go 0-16, and was just a terrible season. I remember the last game against the Steelers where Corey Coleman dropped that ball to give them a chance to at least win one game, and just the heartbreak. And I was like, oh, God. These guys fucking sucked. You know, they showed fight, but after just 1 year, the Browns would trade Kaiser to the Green Bay Packers in 2018, and he would never, ever start another NFL games. But he did make a couple brief stops as a backup with the Packers, the Raiders, and spent the 2021 offseason with the Titans. He would never throw for another NFL touchdown after 2017 and was pretty soon after that out of the league. Deshaun Kaiser's rookie season is often listed among the worst in NFL history. So going 0-15, throwing 22 picks, and, you know, not being able to fucking win anything or be good at anything, you know, makes it a little hard to put him anywhere off this list. But honestly, I don't think he is the worst quarterback on this list. I think that the quarterback we're going to talk about next is frankly worse somehow. And, you know, he remains a symbol of that really just fucking poverty Browns team from 2017. Now, next on our list is somebody who scared me as a kid a little bit because I thought he was ugly. No offense if you're watching this video. I'm sorry. Your Madden picture scared me. There's a couple players who Madden picture scared me, and this is one of them. So I'm talking about Curtis Painter. Curtis Painter is a former NFL quarterback whose shitty little career was defined by a disastrous season in 2011 where he was forced into a starting role for the Indianapolis Colts following a Peyton Manning neck surgery, and it became the low point of his career and honestly one of the worst starting quarterback stints in league history. Born June 24th, 1985 in Indiana, Curtis would play college football at Purdue University, where he became the Boilermakers' all-time leader in passing yards and completions. And, he was known for his arm strength and poise in the Big Ten. Painter would catch the attention of NFL scouts despite some inconsistencies, and in his final college season, he was able to do enough to get drafted in the NFL in the 6th round of the 2009 draft by the Colts. He was viewed as a developmental backup behind the legendary Peyton Manning. Well, Painter's most significant playing time came in the 2011 season where Peyton Manning would miss the entire year due to a neck surgery, and he did come in a little bit the season prior where Peyton Manning was having a legendary season and would end up injuring his neck and still sucked. Just letting you know. The Colts, unprepared for his absence, initially started veteran Kerry Collins, who struggled and was injured early. And that opened the door for Mr. Painter, who would start 8 games and appeared in 9 total during one of the worst seasons in franchise history. During those 8 games he started, he went 0-8, had 1,500 passing yards, had 6 touchdowns and 9 picks, and a 54% completion percentage. A passer rating of 66.6, and goddamn, not even the devil could make him play any worse. He took 18 sacks and lost 3 fumbles. Actually, in the first 2 games, he actually showed a little bit of promise, I'm not going to lie. He had a 281-yard performance against the Bucks with 2 touchdowns, and a lot of that was just kind of a carry job, though. I'm not gonna lie. It was just like Pierre Garçon going crazy. Not to shit on his parade. And he threw 6 touchdowns in his first 5 starts, but failed to throw a single touchdown over his final 4 starts, which were all blowout losses because he fucking sucked. The Colts offense sputtered under Painter and regularly failed to sustain drives or score in the red zone. He was benched midseason in favor of veteran Dan Orlovsky, who managed to win 2 games late in the year, and the Colts would finish the year, 2-14 with the worst record in the league, which, earned them the #1 pick, let them take Andrew Luck, so, shit worked out. The irony of Dan Orlovsky winning them games in a winless season when, Dick Nuts couldn't do that on the line. Sorry, that's just a funny irony that Dan Orlovsky was the guy they turned to. Also funny that they pulled Kerry Collins out of retirement for the season. Like they thought that was going to save their season at all. His career after 2011, he was released by the Colts in 2012 and had a brief stint with the Ravens and later signed with the Giants in 2013. He actually started a game for the Giants, but he would never throw another touchdown pass, and he was out of the league after the 2014 season. His final career line, he would play in 14 games, started in 8, had a 1-7 career record, and had 6 touchdowns with 13 picks with a career rating of 57.6. But fun fact, he actually did fucking win a game on the Giants. Good for him. He actually won a game. Yeah, that's, I still think he's worse than Kaiser, to be honest. I know. Because he had some decent weapons on offense. Not like the Browns had any fucking weapons. Now, obviously, that 2011 season remains one of the worst season performances by a starting quarterback since 2000, and he was truly just thrusted into a situation where he was just not ready for, and he was a developmental quarterback who did not have time to develop. Not only was it just a terrible season for him, but it's just a terrible season for the Colts, but, things worked out. They got Andrew Luck. Redskins got RG3. My heart shatters. I'm still a commie/Redskins fan. I miss RG3. But Jane Daniels is the GOAT. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the last quarterback on this list, and who I would call the worst quarterback on this list, and I am talking about, you guessed it, Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf is widely considered as one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history. Fuck that. The biggest bust in NFL history. His career was marked by high expectations, and he just collapsed. Born May 15th, 1976 in Great Falls, Montana, Ryan Leaf starred at Washington State University, where his strong arm size and athleticism made him a top NFL prospect. And after a really strong senior season, he was drafted 2nd overall in the 1998 draft behind Peyton Manning. And with many analysis projecting him as the potential franchise quarterback of the Chargers, and he didn't. He was terrible. Really, really, really bad. Let's look at his rookie year real quick. He would start 12 games and go 3-8 as a starter. Had a completion percentage of 48.4 and had just under 3,000 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 15 picks, with a passer rating of 50. Statistically, Lee's performance was among the worst for starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and his 50 passer rating just truly reflected his terrible accuracy and bad decision making and just true inability to read defenses at a high level. And his struggles were just compounded by mental and emotional issues, including clashes with coaches and teammates, just bad leadership and inconsistent effort, and injury problems now limiting his mobility and confidence. Following the dismal 1998 season, Leaf's performance worsened. He started just 9 more games across 2 injury-plagued seasons with the Chargers before being released. He would have brief stints with the Cowgirls, the Seattle Seahawks, but just never regained any sort of college form. Off the field, Leaf battled substance abuse and legal problems that overshadowed his talent and potential, but his post-football life has involved some prison sentences and rehabilitation efforts. The guy's trying. It's hard to be that bad at football and being in the league. Ryan Leaf's 1998 season is the archetype of a highly touted prospect failing to adjust to the NFL, and I would say that he is worse than Kaiser, and I would say that he is worse than Painter, in my opinion. That career passer rating of 50 just leaves a very stale, unfortunate taste in my mouth, and stands among the lowest for players with significant playing time. And his rookie campaign is obviously just seen as one of the worst ever. And, despite his failure on the field, Leaf has, worked hard to turn his life around, speaking publicly about addiction and mental health awareness. So, that's pretty good and pretty dandy, but the dude's still terrible. At least the Chargers got Phillip Rivers out of that. And, there's no way they didn't win a Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers, right? Right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now reaching the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed making this, learning about some shittier quarterbacks, and this actually spawned from me last night watching a video about Curtis Painter when I was sick. I don't know if you guys could tell I'm a little sick, a little under the weather right now, but, still got to grind out the content. Just got off a vacation in the Poconos, which was amazing and beautiful. So I hope you guys, like I said, enjoyed. Make sure you drop a sub, because we are so close to 1,000 subscribers, under 100 away. Make sure you drop that sub, drop a like, comment, tell me what y'all think, tell me what our new cult name should be. I got a lot of questions and a lot of things that I want y'all to comment. So again, I appreciate you guys so much for being here. We're making this journey and grind together, and it's time for the Gabe Sayers Believer to go all in on this football shit. So we're looking to improve the content day by day and video by video. Love you guys, stay safe, and remember, smoke crack and eat drywall.